Welcome back, Ori fans. We have another quarterfinal matchup up, and this time it's going to be Raziel, our 4th seed, versus Willson, our 5th seed. I'm joined here by Cleanfell. Welcome, Cleanfell. How are you doing?
I'm doing really well, especially after that last quarterfinal matchup we had. Man, that was super good, and I'm expecting the same thing here between Raz and Willson. These guys, man, have put on quite a show so far in the tournament, and Willson was actually he held the record for quite a bit throughout this tournament. For Ronnie got it like halfway in the tournament, so we still got a ex-world record holder here up against Raz, who's just been consistent throughout. So I'm excited.
Yeah, definitely. And Willson had a little bit of trouble earlier in the bracket. He ended up falling down into the losers bracket and then has clawed his way back up. But especially in his race against Stefu, he proved that he's back on form. He's looking great, so this should be an excellent race.
Yeah, Raz actually was on a bit of trip recently, so he actually couldn't practice until just yesterday. So he's coming off a little bit of rust, but he threw in a lot of good practice, so I'm pretty excited. And then I'm just excited, you know. That's all my emotions right now. He already got the stats up.
Yeah, we can see that they're fairly similar. Both racers have pulled off a 29. Willson with the slightly lower 29.13 compared to Raziel's 29.43, and they both have similar average races times. About a minute difference there, with Willson having the lower average. And then of course their PBs, Willson with that 28.49, just a little ways off world record. Raziel sitting at a 29.43, which is of course a very respectable time, sitting in that 29 range that very few runners are able to pull off.
Right, and despite Willson looks like the favorite there in the time, he was actually ranked in a lower seed than Raz, because Raz's average and best race time was around the 29 range, and Willson actually couldn't get a 29 time in his group stage matches. So that is why Raz is the higher seed here.
Yeah, of course, Willson has since pulled that off. So I think we'll be expecting 29s out of at least some of these races. And otherwise, they're going to be close, and they're going to be quick. You can see from that little radar graph there that a slight advantage to Willson in the mid-game, but otherwise they're very close. So don't expect to see much of a difference between both of the runners for a while.
Yeah. Here we are, getting started. Yeah, the classic 4 and 5 seed matchup. This is the one where you really don't know which way it's going to go. It could go either way. So you will just have to wait and see as both riders get started here.
And they are off. And see some excited mouse movements from Raziel at the start of this race. And a quick color code out of both of our runners. Both getting, looks like a bright pink for Raziel and kind of a darker pink or purple for Willson.
That's not the right color. Not liking that color, probably. Or you just blend into the background there. But we're fine. And heading off, getting started here. Just the basic run left, jump a bunch, and get signed. It's pretty straightforward stuff starting us off.
And of course, Willson immediately changing his color code at that Rhino cutscene, and gets a brighter color that he'll be much more happy with. You can actually see Ori on the background.
That's good. You want to see Ori. You don't want to just. I mean, it is the blind 4th, but not blind as in you can't even see what Ori is. We can't see Ori, so we're fine there. And yep, pretty tied race so far. Early game, unless big deaths occur, it's pretty much going to be, the leads are going to be very minuscule.
Both runners having a very good Frankie fight. There's a very slight advantage for Willson right now, maybe from the prologue skip or just the very slight movement so far. But it's looks to be on the order of less than a second, so it's likely to change even just in this split.
Yeah, definitely. And we're getting started. Little animation trolling Raz. This is because we got, when you first pick up a health cell energy or XP whatnot, or we'll do the, wow, I picked this up. And luckily it doesn't happen every time we pick it up, so we're fine there.
And of course, that will only, each of our runners will likely see one of those for each of the 3 pickups at some point during this split. So that's likely a time loss that we'll see Willson take in a moment.
That's right. Getting into the nice ghost door, and Willson is actually going to skip the health cell coming up here. So it's kind of similar to what we saw in ELO Sig. Raz is going for it while Willson's going to skip it and have free HP for a little bit.
Yeah, so this is about an 8-second time loss for IMRaziel right now, but Willson will need to be getting another health cell later, so it'll end up coming out to being about a 3 to 4 second time loss overall. But Willson will have this nice lead going forward here. And then we see he gets his energy pickup, and we'll take the very slight time to listen to Sign yell about energy.
But we don't actually see it, because we don't like dialogue boxes in our name, so let's turn those off. And that saves quite a bit of time as well. And now Willson and Raz are very nicely done. Wow, Wilson's going to get maybe around a 310 wall jump here. That's crazy.
Yeah, and IMRaziel chose to take the level up on the way down. He didn't go for the flower skip there. Willson has not leveled up as far as I could tell, so he'll be getting his on the way up. Yeah, if he flashes his UI, you can see he's very close to level. And the difference that does is Willson will collect a little more experience on the way out of here. But in terms of time, there's really no difference.
Right. So there we go. There's a level up, and we are up heading out of the classic wall jump area before we head onto Blackroot Burrows. I'm not sure if we see any slime genocides or what weird XP routing there.
I know, having talked with Willson in the past, when he does 3 HP, he does not like going for slime genocide. But one of the reasons for that is he doesn't like to level on the way out. So given that he has leveled up on the way out, there's a chance he chooses to go for slime genocide. But I think it's unlikely given the race situation. He'll probably do what he's more comfortable with.
Yeah, both runners have stated their fears about having nerves in the race. Hopefully we don't really see that. And that'll kind of only really happen if we have a bad death from either of them. So let's just hope clean play throughout.
Both runners did skip that 15 XP orb just before entering BRB, which is a very strong implication they won't be going for slime genocide. You typically want all the XP you can get so you don't have to kill as many slimes.
Yeah, that's a very nice... I mean, slime genocide overall does save time, but in a situation like this, I mean, the small times can be, I guess, canceled out with this nice movement that we'll see Willson do to get this XP. Very nicely done.
Yeah, of course, he has no trouble with that jump up there. And we'll likely be seeing, he immediately saves and quits. This is to reset a cycle that'll be coming up later. These platforms, when you re-enter the game, all start in the same position. So we are able to manipulate that. And it looks like IMRaziel did not go for that earlier save and quit, but he may end up going for one a little bit later. There are kind of 2 locations that you can go for that.
Yeah, and it's kind of, if you have clean movement, it's better to do the one at the bottom than the one at the top. And we're looking good so far. This XP manipulation's doing good. This is kind of basically the whole gist of the XP manipulation for right now, just to set for that Frankie walk. And yeah, it looks good. So both runners heading to the dash room. Willson again with that lead from not picking up the health cells. It's kind of basically the same delta. So we haven't seen any stretches of time so far. And they're both going to get this nice cycle in the dash room.
It was a 10-second difference at the wall jump tree, and with that save and quit that Willson did, he may have saved a couple more seconds in BRB. But overall, both runners have had a very similar movement. So I expect that unless we see the early cutscene skip from Willson or IMRaziel, we'll see about that same difference at dash.
That's very true. Very right. We are good to go. And yeah, this is kind of exactly what I expected. I mean, these guys are having super close play in the way that they are moving around. And I think pretty much for a little bit, you'll just keep seeing that, and it's up to Raz to either pull up a little cleaner movement, or Willson have a little bit of spaghetti to be able to catch up that little bit of time that Raz is behind by.
Indeed, IMRaziel did lose a little bit of time compared to the difference at wall jump, but still is within striking distance of Willson, considering there's still a lot more to come in this race.
Definitely. So we got, man, all the tricks that people have hated throughout the tournament, and we've definitely had a lot of success from both these runners. Maybe some, such as grenade jump and whatnot, have not really been favorable, but looking good as both runners doing the Frankie walk now.
Yeah, Willson having a little bit of trouble. He lost aggro of the Frankie and the spikes, but it was still more than one hit away, so he was able to re-aggro it with an extra shot. And he is successfully through his Frankie walk and into the Death Gauntlet. And looks to be successfully able to dodge this Frankie and will not be going for Death Glide. As on the other hand... Oh, sorry. Continue.
Oh, no, I was going to say, yeah, and yeah, Death Glide. I mean, that's a very finicky trick. Raz is actually going to go for it here. Very nice. I think he just kind of wanted... He felt it was nice. He had the health for it, so saved maybe a small amount of time. Here's another time save coming up, Grotto Cycle. Let's see. Willson's performance so far has been very nice, and there you go. And maybe we'll see the same success from Raz. He's got 83%, so a little bit less, but both gets it well. Nice job.
Yeah, very impressive. Those are both high percentages. We expect a lot from top runners, but still 83 and 90% is very impressive throughout the tournament.
That's very right. So we're already at about 9 minutes in. We're already at the double jump tree. So these guys' early game performance has been spectacular. As we now move into the mid game, hoping, as you saw from the circles, these guys, the weird radius of the stats, these guys' mid game is also very clean, very nice. So that's what I'm expecting to see if we get out of Grotto.
When IMRaziel takes a little bit of damage at the end of his blind movement there, that's not a big deal, as he'll have the opportunity to save a couple times in the next upcoming minute or so. And each of these saves will refill one of his little health pools, little, I guess, green symbols. And we don't need this health for very much, so it's not a big deal anyways. And a first try grotto skip for him. And he's on to this next section where we'll be skipping a bunch of cutscenes that Willson is already in the middle of.
That's right. It's just, these are the small sections that you have to optimize. I mean, these jumps of the wall jump into the double jump is actually pretty, you have to time that actually pretty well. So this section's a lot harder than it seems. Oh, they're just jumping up some walls, but nah. Ori's walls are not straight. They're curvy and rigid, just overall pain.
Yeah, I'll hear a lot from people who run this game that wall jumping in this game is not an easy feat. And we see both of these runners having no difficulty with it so far. Ooh, Willson is not able to get through that slime there. That's a very precise dash in order to get the dash momentum to carry you through the slime as opposed to getting knocked back to the other side. IMRaziel does not get it either, so neither running getting an advantage from that.
Yeah, we're fine. There is an ability cell at the top of that little tree there, but Willson's actually going to skip that for the crazy juggle coming up later in the run. Raz will be going for it. It's kind of similar to what we saw last run. We got one person's going for the classic terror break, while one's going for some more fun strats.
Yeah, so IMRaziel takes about a 7-second time loss there getting that cell, but when he is in sorrow, it's about the same time for those two tricks. So it will end up hopefully working out for Willson that he doesn't lose any time on his crazy juggle, but it is a very difficult trick.
Right, Willson is getting the time save here, but he's kind of going to more risky territory by doing those time saves. So it's just kind of up to can those tricks be successful, not really giving Willson any rough time here, because again, he's health behind Raz right now, so that will still affect it as well. And ooh, some Nice telehops. Up vertical Genzo. Nice job.
Yeah, it was very clean. Those telehops are both fairly challenging, but it's also especially challenging to actually save time. That was very clean movement from him there. We'll likely see IMRaziel go for just this fast gamer cycle here. He's going to do a dash glide here to try and skip this cycle. And there we go. Very nice movement from him. So, and he is going for the lower route as well. So, all total, this ends up not being that big a difference between these two runners in terms of the time it takes to do this.
That's right. And, man, I gotta say, the rust that Raz was not able to practice too much is not affecting him at all. Is he actually tied with his PB going into Genzo? So, I mean, he's not feeling that rust at all. He is on a roll, and as well as Willson. These guys are looking to hopefully get that lovely 13 bash time you see many of the top runners get. As Willson finished up the mini boss here, and Raz goes into it.
Yeah, Willson had a little bit of trouble there. He had a slow spawn and missed a couple shots, but still ended up finishing fairly quickly. This is an opportunity for IMRaziel to catch up. Does see that right spawn and is able to catch that, which is good.
That's right. Raz looked like a 5 cycle from him, and so that may have caught up a little bit of time here. So we're coming into bash, still super close.
Yeah, and most of this time save so far for Willson is not on execution, but on going for slightly more difficult tricks, doing this 3 HP and doing this crazy juggle. He has saved a little bit of time on just execution, but IMRaziel staying very close. So once some of this starts to even out, this is going to be even closer than it is right now.
That's right. Willson bashed the shot a little weirdly. Oh,
having some trouble with this redirect puzzle.
We got through this time. Very nice. You say you do have an 18-second delta, but both runners are actually pretty close to being tied with their PBs. So I mean, yeah, this is kind of just what you expect with Willson having the better PB by around a minute. So these are the deltas you're seeing with these guys' PBs.
Yeah, and they are basically just one key dupe apart right now, both going for that same save at the top. Ooh, Willson had to, oh no, he is fine. I thought he had, was going for a slightly different strat, but he's through, he has done his key dupe, he's gotten his hyperspeed into this mini boss, and should have no trouble with that. And IMRaziel is just behind, so is now just one mini boss apart.
What a great unit of time. One mini boss. 4 small bash shots to kill this so-called mini boss before we're done getting out of Genzo and heading over to really, I want to say that the frog and the swamp entry is a bigger mini boss than this one.
I would agree. That mini boss is not much of a mini boss, in fact. It's really not all that difficult to beat. You just kind of throw his shots back at him. You'd think that he wouldn't, he'd just stop shooting because we have no other way of killing him.
Yeah, you think that, but like the enemies in Ori, I don't know. They're just there. So now Wilson's coming to the real mini boss. This little frog here, who's evil, but we need him to get into the swamp to get Stomp, and Willson go for the double bash strat here. Nice job.
Yeah, he has no difficulty with that. We do see IMRaziel is taking an intentional death there in order to bring this frog back, as he had a little bit of trouble with his. So now on his second attempt, he is looks much more successful here. He has the frog over onto the spikes here. He will be doing the same double bash setup here, and he is also successfully through. So a little bit of trouble at first, but he's able to get through clean on his second try, and he'll be heading to Stomp momentarily. But that does give Willson a nice, a little lead here in the mid game.
That's right. So it's just not really what Raz was looking for so far. There is still a little high five here, so there is a bit of a delta building, maybe around a Kuro cutscene skip, you may say. So we'll have to see how that trick goes. Next one coming up. It's just there's no breaks for these guys. As soon as they're done with one trick, there's another one right around the corner for them. As we're heading out of the swamp area.
Yeah, returning to this frog again, so we can come up and get this ability cell. And Willson has no trouble with that. And since Willson skipped these lasers, he just dashes right in there. IMRaziel will have to be a little bit more careful there, as he did not choose to skip that cutscene, so those lasers will be active. Willson has no trouble with the Kuro cutscene skip, which is not surprising.
That's right. Nice job. Still on a very fantastic pace here. As Raz is coming up, he did have to spawn. He spawned these lasers, so he's gonna do a long dash glide. He's got it. So now he's approaching the Kuro cutscene as well. He's only failed it once so far, and it will stay at just being failed once. Nice job.
And IMRaziel makes a nice little safety save there, so that even if he was to die here, he will not have to reattempt the Kuro cutscene skip. Actually having a little bit of trouble with this movement. The platform's there, and then this dash or bash glide over to the 5th energy didn't go quite as smoothly. And he's having to do a backup double bash setup. Ooh, very nice.
It worked out, yeah. That was nice awareness, because if he did the like regular bash the spider and then do the stomp cancel, that spider would not have had enough time to fire that shot. He would have actually died right there. So that was nice awareness to realize, oh, if I bash this spider, it will not go well for me. But he has made it to charge flame, still giving Willson a little bit of that edge, of that lead here, coming up into the left side of the run.
Yeah, and upcoming next is the Stompless trick. Neither runner should have any difficulty with this, but this is a trick that's kind of been known to give even the most veteran runners some trouble from time to time. Of course, the shot is very precise, and the movement afterwards is kind of not trivial as you are racing against time. But we'll see how it goes for Willson as he bashes off of this second spider on his way up to this. And very quick aim, and he is off. That shot looked fine to me, but what do I know?
Yeah,
like anyone's able to predict it.
It looks good, but hey, look at that. It's good. Nice job. He's bonked Kuro. Kuro a little bonk in the head is we won't see him for a little while as we go get the rest of the skills here in the valley area. As Raz is approaching fast offers now. Does a little safety save here because he did take a little bit of damage, unintentional damage there. And you're now getting into his fast offers.
He had a little bit of trouble with that movement up there, but was able to recover. That shot also looks fine. Let's see if this spider is able to shoot fast enough. Looks good. Didn't end up messing up the spider. And he gets the cell and also gets the shot. So he also has a successful fast stompless.
Very close. Very nice.
As we see Willson attempting Sorrow Bash. Going for a couple of extra double bashes as the bird was in a slightly different position than he's used to. And he is through on into Sorrow. Of course, at his health count, all of these spikes are instant kill. So he cannot touch any of these.
And here we go. We got another frog. We now manipulate this one. Probably the biggest challenge for Willson. He's gonna do some perfect bashes here. Oh, geez. Yep. Oh, that's not good. It looks like he's gonna have to go for the backup here.
Yeah, so this backup is much slower. So at this point, he's lost time on what he could be doing optimally. Looks like he is able to get this frog. Oh, it lands on that platform, and he's able to get back up before it walks off into spikes. So he'll be able to get this attempt up there successfully. This does lose him some time, so we won't know exactly what the delta is because our runners are doing slightly different routes at the moment. We'll be able to see when they start heading into Misty how these two runners compare. Right now, one of them heading to charge jump on the left, and the other one is up at the Sunstone on the right.
That was definitely a big loss, though. Willson, that was not one Willson needed because, I mean, like we said, all that time save he had in the early game, it was running up to this moment, so may have not gone in Wilson's favor here. We shall see, because like another high five here in the Dorito Caverns as Raz is going up as Willson has to go left here.
Yeah, and it looks like IMRaziel has successfully done his tower break as Willson is nearly on his way to charge jump. So I would guess that there's still a slight lead for Willson, as IMRaziel still needs to go up here and skip this cutscene at the top, the Sunstone. But this race is now much closer than it was before that mess up.
That's right. So these guys have gone back and forth in sorrow, but we are done now. Wilson's done all his needs. So yeah, he will be still ahead. Just not by as much as we saw earlier in the run, as Raz is now done with the cutscene, so he's gonna be out of here as well. Let's see, maybe a 20-second delta around there. As now we got Misty coming up. This quick section, blink and you'll miss it. These guys tear through Misty like butter.
Of course, Willson is at 3 HP right now, and all of the spikes in Misty do 3 damage. Some of the enemies and other things will do less. So if he runs into any spikes here, he will die instantly. Running into a Frankie or the shooter gives him the potential of living. So a good safety save there. Even if he dies here, he'll only get sent back to just after that first keystone. As he's coming up to his Atsu's torch cutscene, as IMRaziel picks up that first keystone, is very close right now.
That's right. This section, just such quick movement. And again, both these runners, Raz with the 4 health, can take a hit, so he's fine. I think Willson did have a little bit of save there. He's fine. He's at the climb tree, and Raz will meet him there shortly. He's got a question mark of spikes to go through here. Oh, it takes a hit, but again, that 4 health save him there, so he's fine as well. Ooh, that was a little spooky.
Yeah, I'm sure IMRaziel will be very happy with investment. That 3.5 seconds he spent on that health cell paying off right there, as it would have cost him far more than that if he died.
That's very true. And oh gosh, we got a death from Willson. So Raz is actually by the lead by a few seconds here.
Yeah, Willson getting sent all the way back to the climb tree. Oh, a nice save there. Is able to go back to the Baneling after jumping and unsetting that platform. He's back to that 3rd keystone. Still having a little bit of trouble getting out of there, but doesn't die to the Frankie this time. So
this is the interesting situation I was wondering if we're going to see. So Willson again has the better PB, so but Raz is currently in the lead by a near few seconds. So it's going to be up to how good is this movement from here to the rest of the game, as looks like Raz and Willson go for the same safety save. They do not want to waste any more time. These guys are watching the restream. Well, they have it on, but they're like not really paying attention. They're just focused on their own run here. As these guys are tied, basically going into mini boss.
And it looks like IMRaziel had no trouble with the mini boss. Willson also cleaning up very easily. Goes back to that save he'd made. Both of them sitting at this keystone door at the same time. This is so incredibly close. Looks like Willson actually got there a little faster, so he's taken back the lead. Although some slight slower movement there may have given it back to IMRaziel. I can't tell. This is basically tied right now.
Yeah, that definitely really changes the whole vibe of this run. And now with these guys have a few sections left, as they're basically tied. We saw a dual mini boss quit a bang zoom here, and now we're going to see some dual level manipulations here head into lower black root. This is getting intense.
Looks like Willson is going for a longer save anywhere here. This will save him a very small amount of time, as IMRaziel will need to start one and make an extra save when he goes for this cutscene skip coming up. However, this is a minor time loss, and the truck, Romelios is pointing out that Willson still needs to get an extra health cell. He's currently at 3, and he needs to be at a minimum of 5. So IMRaziel still has that slight advantage on Willson, is that he only needs to collect 1.
That's right. So really at this point, Willson is in the lead, but it's only by a second or 2, and he does have to pick up an extra health cell. So this may cancel out here. We'll see how their exit is. Wilson's going for some grenade jumps, as Raz just heading out here normally. This is pretty interesting stretch scene from both of them.
It looks like IMRaziel had no trouble with his movement on the way out of there, getting both of those rocket jumps. And is now running away from this boulder, goes on the upper section here, and has collected his 5th health, while Willson is starting his teleport and still needs to collect one more. He'll be getting the one in Horu Fields. So IMRaziel might be able to just zip by him and take back the lead there, but it's going to be close.
This is getting close here. These guys have a final stretch before they go to door warp. Man, it's going to come to door warp, isn't it? Of course, it always does. But there we go. Oh, a little bit of spaghetti there, but yeah, so Raz, oh my gosh, it's like tied.
Raz took the lead for a moment, but then ended up messing up some of that movement. He's back in the lead after some very clean charge dashes. Willson is going for this grenade jump, and they are at the same time. Wow, what a race.
Okay. We have a trick here, door warp. Raz has a little bit more success in the tournament. Oh my gosh, these guys doing door at the same time. Here we go. Raz has the cutscene first, so let's see. Oh, he gets
Raz
it.
gets it.
Oh no!
Willson misses it. Oh no, that is very unfortunate for him. So at this point, if IMRaziel doesn't mess up, this is a significant lead coming into the final escape. This might give him one extra attempt on his grenade jump at the end.
Yeah, but these guys are going to have to definitely go for this grenade jump coming up. As you remember, Willson, in the race against OTS in the lower bracket, did softball, but I don't think since then he has. So I'm just hoping clean escapes here for both runners, because Raz is still ahead by maybe a room or two. Ooh, Willson takes another death. So Raz is ahead coming into the swim section. This swim section is going to be pretty key.
Looks like his fish are in the good position, and he is through there. He avoids spawning Kuro, so he just needs to get his grenade jump here, and he's good. Looks like he jumps off the wall so that he does not have that soft lock, and he is through on his first try. Looks clean to me. Yep, he is not soft locked, so that is the race for IMRaziel. What a finish.
Willson having a little bit of trouble here. There you go. He's got his grenade jump coming up. Wasn't a first try, but I mean, we can call it a first try. It's fine. There you go. Nicely done. But wow. My goodness.
What a crazy finish.
This is only race 1. Well, I'm excited. We got, like I said, you guys stay tuned and watch. We got this. This is only the beginning. So there you go.
IMRaziel finishing with a 29.58, pulling out the 29 to start off his series versus Willson. That's incredibly impressive. I'm sure he'll be very happy with that. Looks like Wilson's going to come in with a low 30, but it's not quite enough against the Portuguese pain train himself.
But yeah, I mean, that was the whole momentum, man, because you knew that Willson with a little bit of the flub and sorrow, and then that it was still Wilson's race, but then that death matched it up for the rest of the run, and it just came down to that door warp. I told you it always comes down to it, but there you go. Raz is gonna come out here with the win for the first race. Incredible.
Just unbelievable. And we'll be taking a short break to give our runners and ourselves a chance to catch our breaths. And then we'll be back with match 2 of this incredible quarterfinal series. And we'll see if Willson can pull off a win and take it to game 3, or if IMRaziel can pull off what would amount to being an upset, taking down Willson 2-0.
That's right. It's an interesting upset because Raz is the higher seed, but Willson is just the guy known for that world record he had earlier. So, I mean, yeah, technically, yes, you will say that this can be an upset even though Raz is the higher seed. But like you said, that's right. We are going to have a short break here, give runners a chance to relax, because I think they're already going to be pretty stressed out. But we'll see you guys in a little bit.
What a beautiful charge!
Whoa,
This is
what a
fine.
save!
Oh my god, this is
Oh,
what a save! Okay.
Well. Welcome back, everyone. You have not seen anything yet because we are just getting started here with the Willson Raz Race 2. This is going to be really exciting. Raz did win the last one, so he is up. And if he wins again, they will win and head into the semifinals. I'm excited. How about you, Melvin?
I'm very excited. Of course, if Willson is able to pull off the win in this one, we will be going to game 3. At that point, winner takes all. So there could be a lot more excitement yet to come today. Of course, having seen that first race, it's going to be close. It's going to be exciting. Both of these runners are very good.
That's right. So, again, Willson does have the better PB, and he has improved his race times throughout the tournament from the group stage to now. So he does have the best race time and the better average. But again, Raz would see the hider, so it's kind of still of an upset if Raz is able to take this. So we will see how it will go. And as Wilson's stats goes, are you not entertained? Yeah, I'm pretty entertained right now. How about you?
Yeah, I'm pretty entertained. So, of course, we saw that Willson has the better times, but we saw that some of those like tricks that he would be attempting for those better times backfiring a little. 3 HP, not giving him quite the safety he would have liked to Misty. Crazy Juggle costing him a little bit of time. So we'll see if he's able to kind of clean up those small tricks that are very difficult and not lose that time. And both our runners are off now. They have successfully skipped the prologue, neither of them soft locking. And we'll see if anyone goes for any color changes this time. Looks like Willson decides to go for a color code despite the fact it backfired on him last time. Gets a nice green, so he'll be very pleased with that.
Yeah, I saw some great performances last time, and I think Willson may not have liked it as much. He's just going to be looking to clean up that movement there and make those time saves pay off this time. Because again, yeah, you saw he did have that time save there, but it came all up to the Grace Juggle. Then just did not go in his favor. So if Willson is able to have those time saves, which I believe he'll go for again, like skipping that health cell, hopefully it will be in his favor more. So we'll just have to wait and see, as both runners just doing a lot of color changes as they get signed.
And it is, of course, nearly tied at sign, and we would expect it to remain this way for a little while. Hopefully neither runner has any difficulty with this Frankie fight, and indeed they don't. It's not a very challenging fight. Those Frankies have a lot of trouble hitting you, so you can pretty much just run or them as you shoot them.
Yeah, there's not a lot of fighting in the all skills route. The mini boss and Ginzo is pretty much the longest fighting you'll have. But for the most part, we just want to avoid enemies at all costs. We don't need them. They just get in our way. So here we go, headed into Glade, skipping all these slimes here. And look, RNG so far is going good for both runners there. Taking some intentional damage.
Yeah, Willson already pulling out a couple second lead here. Just some very clean wall jumping up these, or not wall jumping, but jumping up some of these sections. We, of course, don't have wall jump yet, but I can still jump up these short little hops. And he gets his ghost door. Looks like he was at 2 health, so IMRaziel's able to save a little bit of time there by having gotten down to 1 health. Of course, Willson will now be going for this HP skip, so we'll be kind of unable to tell the exact difference between these two runners for a little while now.
Yeah, that is fine there. So Willson confident he can pull it off there nicely with 3 health, 4 health. Right at this moment, it's going to give you that save, so you feel a lot better in those sections like Misty and Sorrow, to where those big deaths have a very less likely chance of occurring. And Wilson's pretty close to leveling, so I'm not sure if he's going to level on the way down. And looks like he had a little spaghetti. I wasn't sure if he's intended to, but there you go. He's leveled up.
Looks like Raziel will also be leveling on the way up, as he did also get a little bit of extra XP throughout that section. And so some slight changes and some similarities to last race. Both runners coming into wall jump very similar times.
Yeah, Willson pulls off a very easy, very casual 3:11. You know, that's fine. Raz also pulls off right at the 3:21. So, you know, some nice times there, you could say. As now we're done with this as we make our way out of Glades and headed to Blackroot. It was successful for both our runners last time. Hoping to see the same success here as well.
Yeah, Blackroot can be terrifying, but neither runner had any difficulty with it last time. And hopefully everything goes the same.
Yeah, basically just I want to run the exact same as last one, where it wasn't the winner wasn't set by an early death and stuff like that. You know, I'm just gonna commentator's curse all the way, so that maybe if I go far enough, it just cancels out. So there's no commentator's curse at all. You know, that's fine.
I don't even know if it works that way, but one can hope.
Yeah. But there you go, and I think we'll see the same kind of no genocide from either runners as well. Just going for the nice casual strats we've seen, and yeah, so there you go. Just gonna do the normal XP orb in Blackroot and manipulate some cycles.
Yep, and both runners were fine on their way to enter Blackroot. I didn't see Wilson's XP count. Raziel's 39 away, so we'll be looking to pick up 3 slimes, and we'll be very close to his level up from the Frankie. So that's a nice time save. Just a little bit of time in that level up animation.
Yeah, and I mean that's just the frames that are saved. But with a run like this with these two guys, maybe frames do matter in this scenario. So there you go. Willson gets up there to the orb. Very nicely done. That jump can be really weird.
And it feels like if Raziel can keep this race really close coming into those difficult tricks, then that puts a lot more pressure on Willson to perform at that moment. And otherwise, he'll potentially lose a lot of time and end up giving the race over to Raziel.
Yeah, you saw that a little bit in the last one in Sorrow. I mean, Raz was still pretty far behind. So Willson still had the lead, even though he messed up the crazy juggle. But if it's closer and Raz is actually in Sorrow as Wilson's doing crazy juggle, I mean, that will put a lot more stress on him being able to pull it off successfully. And yeah, you'll just see that for most of the tricks coming up.
So Raziel is a couple cycles behind right now as he finishes his platform manip, kills his last slime. So still very close race, but Willson does have a nice lead at the moment in BRB. He makes his platform cycle, so should have no trouble getting up and pulling this lever at the top here, as Raziel will be just moments behind him, jumping onto that platform. And his platform manip also works out nicely, so neither runner have any trouble with BRB so far.
Yeah, very nicely done. That's the race start both people are going to want. As both runners are looking for a victory here, I mean, that you definitely want to have your opponent perform well. And so both runners got to be feeling good about this. As Wilson's going to get a nice, looks like sub 7-minute dash time. Nice job to him, as Raz is not far behind.
It looks like he came in with the 6:59, so just barely gets that sub 7-minute dash. Also, I was able to see his XP count. He's at 12 XP from level right now, so 9 higher than Raz. So I will give Raz a slight time save on the Frankie walk section, but it's a very small amount of time, and there's a lot of other places that you can gain or lose that same amount. But still, Raz will be happy that he's able to get his XP that close.
Yeah, that's always nice. You're always going to look for the classic 1 away, which is kind of hard, but it works out. What's that little bit spaghetti trying to get this frog? It's definitely weird how the Frankie works, because when you're close to it, he actually jumps higher. And if you're far away, he actually jumps not as high. So it's kind of an interesting way how the Frankie works. So both runners are going to be trying to be staying close to it, but not too close.
And it looks like IMRaziel's had a slightly cleaner Frankie walk so far, and may have saved a little bit of time compared to the difference at dash. And he is successfully done with Frankie walk, as Willson is nearly through the Death Gauntlet and is up to that energy cell. IMRaziel gets under his Frankie and will be going for his Death Glide. Ooh, takes a little bit of damage, but is still able to make it up to the top there. And Willson is now falling down into Grotto and will be going for his early Grotto cycle, which he is 90% on.
Yeah, I mean, ex-world record holder. I mean, that's kind of what you expect. And there you go. He gets it again, just like that. Raz improved his Grotto cycle average there by getting it the last run, and he will improve it again, getting it this run as well. Nice job.
So no major difference in time between these two runners after that, both getting that very difficult trick. And Willson has completed his ghost door and is now on his way down to double jump as IMRaziel dies to get through that door quickly. And looks like a 904 for Willson. So that is a new, it's a better time than the last race. Although I'm going to guess that IMRaziel also has a better time than the last race as well. May have even had a best race time for double jump there. I didn't see exactly when he got in. It was around a 9:16.
Yeah, and it's actually pretty interesting, like how good Willson is doing at this point. Because again, he did hold the world record earlier in the year. So I mean, this guy's got he has the potential for some paces that are unlike we've ever seen besides Ronnie. So I mean, he's been putting on a show. Maybe not put on a show as much in the tournament, but it's still been a success.
IMRaziel getting a second try Grotto skip there, so he'll lose a little bit of time compared to Willson, but still was able to get it fairly quickly after that. And he's on his way up through these very difficult walls to jump up.
That's right.
Willson has collected the water vein and is on his way up to the Ginso tree. I expect we'll be seeing telehops from him again, which was some very impressive and very clean telehops. So that will be fun.
Yeah,
we'll also see Willson skipping the stability cell that's coming up in a bit, as he will be going for crazy juggle again, and he still fails to get through that slime that gave him some trouble last time. We'll see if IMRaziel could be the first one of these two runners to get through it. As he'll be attempting that dash in just a moment.
That's right. And so, I mean, this pace we've seen from both these guys had been just, in fact, so impressive. And this is definitely what we expected. Both guys is having such a nice time and such a good early game. This is when you know that these runs are going to be pretty good.
I'd like to point out that Willson got the early spinner cycle there on his way to the swamp teleporter, which is very difficult to do, and short of damage boosting is, I believe, impossible to do if you get the Kuro cutscene cell. So that's a nice little time save that'll give him some more buffer room going into Enter Ginso.
I believe Willson actually may have missed the cutscene skip there. He had a little bit of weird spaghetti going in, but he's fine now. And that will just be a small time save for Raz coming into Ginso here.
Yeah, as Raz ties his best Enter Ginso pace for the tournament, the delta between these two runners is actually closer than I was expecting, given that missed cutscene. So both of these runners are very close right now.
Yeah, this is getting good. It was a little bit of a bigger delta, I'd want to say, from the last race, because that time save that Willson had did have a little bit more in the early game, but right now these guys are pretty much really close, only a few seconds behind, like maybe one Ginso room, you'll say, coming in and approaching the mini boss here pretty shortly. Do remember that Raz had a bit of a cleaner mini boss, maybe around 5 cycles, so that was very nicely done. So maybe we'll see something we'll see a little bit more time save coming into the mini boss here.
Yeah, and Willson starts his mini boss off with 10 shots. Looked like he may have missed the 10 shots on that second round, so that will make the 4 cycle impossible. And there we see he is able to finish it off with a very fast 5 cycle, as IMRaziel is in the middle of his. I was unable to count that.
Yeah, but that was super nicely done. Well, it was only 1 shot from that mystical 4 cycle, but Raz also gets the 5 cycle, so no really time loss or gain there. So now we're heading into Bash. This is where the run really changes. All these cool tricks, cool Ori movement comes into play.
Yeah, of course, Bash opening up a whole new set of movement possibilities, as Willson is leaving the Bash tree just as IMRaziel comes into this, so we're just a little more than a tree cutscene apart. And we still have a lot more to come, as Willson goes into this redirect puzzle that gave him some trouble last time, but looks like he's able to get it cleanly first try, so will not take any time loss there. He's now coming up to his key dupe section, as IMRaziel himself does his redirect puzzle, going for the double bash setup here, which is about the same time, but some runners are just a little more comfortable with it.
Yeah, definitely. So here we go. Key dupe. Very nicely done. It's kind of just an annoying time loss. It's not really a difficult trick, but it's just one that it just can lose time in the most annoying parts of the way. But luckily, both get key dupe with successful. So we're off and out against those shortly. We just have again the guy who shoots, but his shots are the only thing that actually are able to kill him. So that's his fault, really.
And IMRaziel missed his hyperspeed into this mini boss fight, so the difference between last race and this race is he's a little further behind. He was just 1 mini boss behind then. He's now like a mini boss, and I don't know, like half the distance to the teleporter or something like that. I guess we don't have a good unit of measurement like a milli mini boss or something.
Yeah, we don't. Or he's got some weird units of measurement here.
Yeah, we'll have to get in contact with the developers and figure out exactly what the units of measurement that we should be using are. But IMRaziel is able to cleanly get through that second mini boss and is about to watch this cutscene that he won't be skipping, where Willson did choose to skip that. That's about a second faster for Willson, but it means that IMRaziel doesn't have to do any of this blind movement. He's just a little more comfortable with that.
That's right. Willson was able to get in. He did take a hit from the shot, but he was able to make it, so he's in to...
Oh, no! IMRaziel takes a death after an incredible save where he was able to keep the frog from dying. I can't believe that nearly worked out, but he then ended up taking a swim and dying on his own. He's now having some difficulty with this, as Willson has some difficulty with that shot there. He ends up having to double bash this.
Double bashing, okay, I mean, that's fine. That's one way to get up there. Nice job from him. But yeah, Raz is not looking to need that. He does not want this time loss that he's experiencing right now. He gets the frog in that position this time. There'll be a little bit more success here. Some double bashes. And he's in this time. Nice job. That was a 3rd try.
Still, that's not time loss that he wanted to take at that moment. He had been catching up a little bit on every split so far, and now Willson has a nice solid lead heading in towards the Kuro cutscene skip and charge flame. As IMRaziel still needs to run up here and grab the stomp tree.
That's right, so... Oh no, he takes a death there. It was not a big one, but, I mean, Raz is just having time losses that's letting Willson edge out here a little bit in the mid-game. We still have some pretty hefty tricks coming up, especially the frog juggle, which we'll see, the crazy juggle, which we'll see Willson do in a few minutes here. But Raz is now kind of in the uphill battle that we saw last time, and we will see how he is able to make up this time here.
Yeah, and Willson did not miss the Kuro cutscene skip, so Raz will need to make that as well to just stay even with Willson at this point. And it looks like it's about a minute delta at Stomp Tree. So Raz is even further behind than he was last race at this point. So he definitely needs some help from Willson if he wants to catch up. He will be unlikely to do it through just good movement right now.
That's right. So even if, again, Raz is able to get that Kuro cutscene skip, I mean, Willson got it as well. So in the end, it's just time saves that he has to get in order to stay close in this race. And he does get it, so very nicely done. So it's just up to him with his perfect movement and Willson and a little bit of spaghetti to be able to make this race closer than it is.
Yeah, and of course, IMRaziel does still need to keep up the pace here, so that even if Willson does make a mistake, that he's even in a position to take advantage of it. So it's good to see him not missing tricks like that and to still have very clean movement through these sections.
But Willson is on a tear, man. He's only about 5 seconds behind his PB, which, if you know, is the old world record. So I mean, that's just an unbelievable pace from Willson so far, and we'll see if he's able to keep that up as he heads into the first of many difficult tricks. Here's Fast Stompless, but I don't believe Willson has missed it many times, if at all. Doesn't like that shot though.
I'm actually surprised. I thought that shot was fine, and he actually hits that shot into the ceiling. So we'll go back for a third one. Looks like he thinks that one was fine, and I do agree.
I think it's fine. We shall see. Gets the cell, and he gets the bonk on Kuro. That's a successful Fast Stomple, so very nicely done.
Yeah, so he does drop a little bit of time there, taking a little too much time at the top, waiting for that spider to shoot a couple extra times, and that gives IMRaziel the chance to make up some time in this minute delta that he is behind, but he'll still be well behind Willson, and it's still going to be a very difficult uphill battle for IMRaziel.
Yeah, we are starting to see the similar scenario from last race. So Willson, with the lead, is coming to start. He's going to pull off the crazy juggle, as you saw, but hopefully if he gets a little bit more success, then those time saves that Willson has will pay off immensely, and it'll be much harder for Raz to be able to catch up here. So we shall see how that goes.
And Willson had no trouble with his Sorrow Bash, and he is breaking the ceiling right now and starting his crazy juggle. Let's see how this goes. Keep your eyes on the right side of your screen as he attempts this very difficult sequence of inputs. So far, it's going well. He's nearly to the top here. Ooh, he almost dropped one there, but it is able to get the frog up there. The frog has broken the ceiling, and he is onto Sunstone. So it has gone cleanly. His skipping of that cell earlier has paid off. So I'm sure, yeah, we can see from his mouse movement, he's very happy about not messing that trick up this time.
Yeah, very nicely done. So Raz did get Fast Stompless here. Oh, but he took a death on Sorrow Bash. That's gonna hurt, because now since Willson got Crazy Juggle, he's even more far behind than he would like to be. So he's gonna have to get this pretty soon if he wants to stay alive in this race and stay close.
Goes for some double bash backups as the bird was a little low there. It looks like he made a safety save there on his way to that cell. So, ooh, he lands in the spikes, but is able to stay alive. He must have taken damage from the slime there before landing in the spikes. What a save.
What? How does that even happen? Nice job.
Yeah, very lucky there, and he's at 3 HP. Which of course doesn't really matter to these spikes. They would kill him no matter how high his health is, as he has a maximum of 4 HP at this point. But we see Willson has now collected his charge jump pickup, and he is headed out of Sorrow already, while IMRaziel still needs to go up to the Sunstone Tree. So this is quite the difference between these two runners at this point, with the couple of mistakes IMRaziel had on his way into Sorrow.
Yeah, Wilson's got to be already feeling much better about this run. I mean, he's pulled off all the tricks so far, so now he's got some Misty movement. He had a little bit of mess up in Misty last time, which made IMRaziel have that climb back, but so far Wilson's not letting Raz catch up anyway so far, and he's going to be approaching climb soon, as Raz has a cutscene to skip up here.
And he did place down a safety save after the first the first keystone. So even if he was to die here, he would not get sent back all the way to the charge jump tree, which would make this a very close race, and instead would just take a relatively small time loss. But he is through the climb tree safely. He'll get an automatic save here and an energy refill, and he'll be off to the second half, which, as you mentioned, did give him a little more trouble last race. But still, even a couple mistakes here will leave him in the lead compared to IMRaziel.
That's very, very true. So there you go. You'll blink if you blink and you'll miss, as Willson is already heading to the second half of Misty, as Raz is starting to enter it. And so again, this just super nice movement from both of them. Willson is also having the luxury of being on 3 health, so he can't touch pretty much anything, or he's dead. He's a dead Ori. And he will place a save there, and I like that. Strat. Willson does have the restring open, but he's not really paying attention to it too much. But he may know he's ahead at this level, so he just made like some safety there.
He does go for that very nice rocket jump through the meatball shaft there, and avoids taking damage at the end of it, which would have instantly killed him. He comes into his mini boss, which has given him some trouble in the past, but does not give him any trouble here. A very quick kill there, and he is on his way out of Misty, has had no difficulties here, and has given Raz no chance to catch up.
Yeah, I mean, this is the Willson that you all know and love. The Willson that did have a world record earlier. He's not too far from his PB as we last checked. We'll have to see at Light Grenade how he's comparing with that now. But I mean, he's entering into lower bracket with a 25 time, which is just super nice job from him.
And IMRaziel has picked up climb and is on his way through the second half of Misty as well. So not far behind in terms of kind of overall pace, but far enough behind that it's unlikely he'll be able to catch up in this race. We would need to see Willson make a lot of mistakes, and just a couple of saves and whatnot will likely put him in a position where IMRaziel cannot catch up.
Yeah, Willson is having the run of his life right now. He's doing very nice for himself. Again, Raz has only had a few tiny mistakes, but I mean, those mistakes have, with these guys' PBs, those few mistakes will add up. And as you can see, that this is the effect of this few tiny mistakes that Raz has endured here. As Willson has gotten Light Grenade, he's out of here.
Yeah, and we can see even just little things like the mini boss for IMRaziel didn't go quite as clean as Willson's. So even in these sections where kind of IMRaziel's looking for the cleanest of movement, it's not quite as clean as Willson's, and that's going to make it even harder to catch up. I'd say at this point, Willson's in a very comfortable position going into the very final moments of the game. He needs to go collect one last health cell, having just gotten that one in BRB, and then he'll just have Horu itself, which, as we saw last time, can give him a little bit of trouble, but it'd be unlikely that it takes him more than a couple attempts on any of the tricks.
That's right, and even with Willson's come to pace, I'd say he could still go for the grenade jumps. Kind of just, he's in the zone, he's in the pace of just doing as well as he can, and he is just doing really well for himself. And this is just kind of the disparity of these guys' PBs, because Willson does have the better PB, and Raz is already, from the beginning of the run, has an uphill battle for himself, because he has not hit a 28 time, but he's hit very good times. But if Willson has a run like this, I mean, it's gonna be hard for Raz to catch up here.
We see Willson has entered Horu. He now is attempting Door Warp. This took him a couple tries last time. He is unsuccessful his first try. We'll see how the second one goes. The second one is also unsuccessful, so having a little bit of difficulty here, but IMRaziel is still far behind, and he gets it on his third attempt. He is into the Warmth of Routine cutscene. He just has the final escape and the final grenade jump left to do. as Raziel is starting his teleport towards the swamp teleporter and has his trip through Horu Fields to go.
Yeah. So Willson did mess up Dorp in the last run, but it does not really matter as much because he was able to get those very nice time saves that he was able to accumulate throughout the run here. So this run has definitely paid off for Willson as well. He's just got a little bit of Horu left and a swim and a Kuro skip and a grenade jump. You know, classic stuff here. Easy peasy. As this run is close to being over for Willson.
And Raziel's had great movement through this last section, but he's just too far behind. Willson has avoided spawning Kuro. He just has one last grenade jump to go for. If he chooses to even attempt it, he does not. He knows that he is far enough ahead that he can just jump into this last cutscene, watch this out, and he has won this race. Raziel, on the other hand, is attempting to warp, but he does get it. So he will be onto the final escape himself in just a moment, but it is to no avail. He cannot catch up at this point.
Yeah, he can make this as close as he can with that grenade jump, but I assume Raz will still go for it. But there you go. I mean, this is the Willson we love. I mean, he was able, if he did pull off the grenade jump, he would have pulled off pretty much a low 29, which is pretty crazy. You've seen a few of those, and Willson is no stranger to some super nice times. So, there you go. So yeah, Willson is at the part where grenade will take you, so he is taking this race. Ooh, and Raz has a little bit of spaghetti there. He has to take a death and start this escape over.
And it looks like Raz is just taking a quick break to congratulate Willson on the win, having probably seen the restream and knowing where he's at. He knows that there's no way for him to win, so and he runs right into the lava pillar as well, having a little bit of difficulty with the final escape here. And it looks like Willson is finished with a final time of a 30:06. And of course, he could have had a better time if he'd chosen to go for that grenade jump, but I think he made the right decision, the much safer decision of just eating a small time loss but guaranteeing the win.
Yeah, Willson has had the history of throughout the tournament having not the best grenade jump performance, which evidently did get him sent into the lower bracket. So he's got a little weird relationship with the grenade jump, but so yeah, I like that decision there. And Raz will be going for it, and he gets the first try. Very nice.
So it looks like he'll be coming in with a low 31, if I did the math correctly on that. And we will be going to game 3, as Willson was able to pull off the win in this one. So
we still got one more exciting game, which will decide who's going to the semis. I mean, these guys have gone through everything, and so one race decides who's getting sent to the semis. And I mean, again, it could go either way. We've seen how Willson is just able to pull ahead if these tricks pay off, but if they don't, Raz gets in a very nice position to be able to pull ahead, and evidently so. Game 3 is coming up shortly. We'll have another quick break, probably let the racers relax a bit, as we're hoping to get these guys ready for one more exciting race.
Definitely don't go anywhere. I expect this one to be just as exciting as these last two. And of course, this is the last one. Winner takes all and goes on to the semifinals to face Trojan. So stick around. We'll be back in just a little bit.
What a beautiful charge! Oh, this is fine. Oh my god, this What a save! My guy.
Welcome back, everyone, for the third race in the quarterfinals, IMRaziel versus Willson. I'm, as always, Meldon, and I'm joined again by Cleanfell for this third game. And I'm very excited for this. How are you doing, Cleanfell?
I'm doing good. I'm doing clean. I'm excited because this is it. Game 3. Both runners here, Raz and Willson, have 1-1. So this is our best 2 out of 3. Whoever comes out with the victory in this race will be moving on to the semifinals to face Trojan Dude, and it can be either one. I have no idea. This is going to be super nice. I mean, you've seen how these guys can pull off wins here. Again, Willson does have a little bit of the advantage with the better PB, but I mean, it just comes at the disadvantage that Willson has to do some much more risky tricks.
Yeah, and of course, we saw in game 1, Willson had a little bit of trouble with a couple of things in the late game, and IMRaziel was able to stay close for the early game and then pull ahead a couple times in the late game and pull off a very close win. While in the second race, Willson just kind of ran away with it, and IMRaziel just kind of never had a chance. And a couple of mistakes from him in the late game meant that it wasn't that close in the end. But I think we could see anything happen. Either of these runners is more than capable of winning. So who knows what's going to happen? We'll just have to watch and find out.
That's right. So we'll starting just about now. And again, let's just hope one more amazing race from both runners. Just hoping for what we've seen similarly, where nothing really big happens early in the game. No big mess ups here. Both runners just have a super nice time in the early game. Black Root, Ginzo, all that. And then those tricks when the late game is when we really start to see these runners show their skill. And I'm excited. One more color code from Willson. He's a little dark blue there. That may make it a little hard to see, but looks fine to me.
Yeah, that's not a great color for him, but we'll see if he decides to try and change it. He has a couple opportunities at the Rhino here and coming up at the sign cutscene.
That's right. But what we've seen so far, these guys are pretty much even at this early section. You'll see Willson have the lead in the early game because of that health cell skip. So what you've seen, Willson will pull ahead here up till about Ginzo, and then who knows what may happen. A little spaghetti from either runners is possible.
Yeah, definitely. And Willson has pulled ahead very slightly here. Looks like he had a slightly better prologue skip. But looks like both runners having about the same Frankie fight so far. Not missing any shots, able to just keep moving. So that lead has not changed. And likely we won't see more than a couple second difference until that health cell you mentioned.
Nice. Right. And just I gotta give props here to Raz, who was not able to practice all skills until yesterday. And he has gone out here and pulled out both a 29 and a 31. So, I mean, the rest and the days off have definitely not hurt him in any way. He has been matched with Willson throughout the run here. So, just super nice job from Raz being able to keep up there despite not being able to practice too much.
And a lot of the time, he's either been very close to his PB splits or at least been keeping pace with some of his tournament best splits. So definitely not slacking off, despite the fact that he's been behind for a lot of these races so far.
Yeah, he's been able to keep pace, and that was kind of Raz's whole goal here, making it close, making it as saving as much as he can to be able to keep pace with Willson, and then having Willson just have a little bit more spaghetti than him, being able to pull ahead here. Again, that's what you saw in game 1, and that's what Raz is hoping to see in this third and final game.
Given that both these runners have mentioned that they're both very nervous coming into this race, I think that's a good strategy. Just try to make as few mistakes as possible and hope that your opponent ends up making a mistake that you can capitalize on.
Yeah. Sometimes it will not go in your favor, though, because you'll see maybe people like Willson and Elos pull out incredible times without giving a chance. Willson is kind of one of those top runners that sometimes can have just a little bit of not the best kind of movement there, which does allow Raz to like catch up there. But I mean, so far, I think that's his best wall jump time yet, Willson. There, that's like 309, I think. Very nice.
Looks like Raziel's going to come in with maybe a 321 again. Looks like it's a 322, so a little behind his pace from game 2, but still very close and just about where he wants to be right now, in that like 10-second spot behind Willson. Most of it due to that 8 seconds from the health cell.
Yeah, and that's again kind of these guys have perfect movement, but with that health cell skip, Willson will just have the lead for quite a bit. But you could essentially say it is kind of tied in the sense that Willson does have to pick a health cell later in the run and do some more risky tricks. So again, this lead is not too important or like not too big to like really capitalize or say anything about, because in the end it will kind of even out.
Yeah, and we've seen that 3 health pay off very nicely for Willson in race 2, but in race 1 he took a death that could have been avoided if he had a little more health. So kind of it can go either way in these races, and having that extra margin of safety for Raziel has saved him on a couple occasions. So kind of makes sense that he sticks with that strategy while Willson risking it all for the best time he could possibly get.
That is right. So there you go. Head into Black Root. No slime genocide as we saw before, and the same now. Just going for the basic XP pickup. These guys have rided their XP very nicely so far. Raz, I think, was about 43 coming to Black Root. I did not see what Wilson's was, but it's got to be pretty close to the same.
Yeah, just like the last 2 races, neither of them having any difficulty with any of this XP setup. Having probably played Glades thousands of times at this point, they're pretty used to the XP routing and all of this early game.
Yeah, it's kind of just like you don't really think about it. It's just an unconscious. You have jump up here, get the orbs, so whatnot. It's kind of you always got that kind of speed run where you just kind of get into the pace in the zone and only really like actually react based on what your movement if there's a big mess up or lost spaghetti. So these guys are just impressive. I mean, they've just pulled off all the amazing tricks in the run that we've seen, and they're just doing really well for themselves so far.
Yeah, and of course, BRB is a bit of an auto-scroller. You end up having to sit on these platforms, and those cycles kind of dictate the way you play through this area. So there's not a lot of room for big time saves here. So the runners can not relax, but they don't have to worry about some of the finer details of wall jumping, and they can just kind of go about the general movement.
Yeah. And so here we go into the dash room. Very nicely done for both Raz and Willson. And you will say that Raz is kind of about a cycle and a half behind, so it's kind of similar to what you saw with the health cell. So no real big time difference change here heading into dash. Both are doing really well.
Yeah, just like the last 2 races, the slight differences in what they choose to attempt, this health cell and the reload in BRB, seem to be kind of the only major time loss for Raziel compared to Willson. Wilson's
right.
menuing there a little slow, but he's still able to get his cutscene skip fine, and he will be at the dash tree and ties his average dash time for today. So nothing but consistency for Willson so far in this best of 3 series.
I think another thing that Willson is tied with is the amount of XP to level up. I believe Raz and Willson are exactly 7 away. So there you go. That's pretty good. That's pretty nice sync there from both runners.
Raziel, on the other hand, was actually faster than his average dash time so far today. So he's trying to go a little speedier right now and putting some more pressure on Willson. I think if he can stay this close through some of these sections, he might be able to make up even without any major mistakes. Just some small spaghetti out of Willson might be all that it takes.
Yeah, with these guys' PB being in the 20s, yeah, if the small mistakes that you may not expect to change maybe in the higher PB races, but for a run like this, yeah, any not as big movement will change the game. And I think Raz actually gets a little bit of an energy drop there. There you go, makes the Death Gauntlet not as scary. He gets through. He still gets through very nicely.
That can help with your nerves though, just knowing that you have that save waiting for you and you're not going to take a huge time loss. It can help to relax you and just help you do this movement very cleanly. We now see Willson going in for his early Grotto cycle attempt. He's of course been perfect on this today and is still perfect on it so far. Of course, having a 90% or better success rate with it through the tournament. And IMRaziel does miss it. Ooh. That's very unfortunate.
That was so close.
Almost made it there, but in the end, he'll take an 8-second time loss there compared to Willson. So that's the first big difference we've seen compared to with the past races.
Yeah, it's definitely one that, I mean, you can't be too mad about because Grotto Cycle is a hard trick, but it just kind of can get in your nerves that Willson will take an 8-second time save. Ooh, it takes a little death, so maybe a little bit of a bigger time save, but it's fine. IMRaziel is down into the dum-dum area.
And this will put IMRaziel behind his average dash time for average double jump time for the day, after being ahead of his dash time. So that's unfortunate, but still relatively close. I don't know the exact time difference, but I would guess that it's somewhere in the 20-second range between the two runners right now. As we see Willson attempting his Grotto skip and having some difficulty with it. He's now missed it a couple times, still missing it. Decides to go from the top, trying to get that very consistent setup, but is having a lot of trouble.
And Raz is
catching up and might be able to pass him if Willson is able to get it. Raz is watching this animation and gets it as well. So this race is now incredibly close after Willson having that much trouble. Wow.
Yeah, that is... Oh no. I think Raz didn't save close enough. I think he's got some boulders heading his way.
Yeah, that save is very far away, so he's going to have to change his movement through here in order to avoid these. So far, successfully dodges most of them, but does take 1 damage, which is not a big deal. But this will slow him down compared to the optimal movement through there without the boulders. Still, very nice recovery after what could have been a major mistake.
That was very nicely done. So, had a little bit of flub movement, flub cutscene skip, but was able to keep it up. And this race is still a lot closer than Willson would want it to be, because again, he was trying to get that time save with the health cell, but now it's not really working out so far. But it's a lot closer than Willson would want it. And this definitely, despite Raz getting the boulders there, this is kind of the race he wants.
Raz having a little bit of trouble missed getting up onto that platform, so was not able to dash through that slime. So loses a little bit of time there. Just a couple of flubbed wall jumps so far, causing some difficulty for him. Does get the nice dash through the slime there, and picks up all of the XP from this frog. As Willson is heading in towards the swamp teleporter here, getting another nice time save by skipping this ability cell, since he will be going for Crazy Juggle, as we've mentioned in the previous races.
Yeah, but this is a lot closer than it has been, because Grotto skip was not in Wilson's favor in this race. IMRaziel is a lot closer to Willson in this section than it has been in the previous races. So Raz has got to be feeling good about this so far. And Willson is just going to have to put on some very nice double jump movement to get through the vertical Ginzo dungeon.
Yeah, we would expect to see a greater than 16-second lead, just given the health cell and ability cell. But we see that IMRaziel's only 13 seconds behind Willson, so he's closer than the two routes should put them apart. So that's very good for IMRaziel. Puts him well within striking distance for the rest of the game if he's able to keep up this pace.
Yeah, and I believe Willson went for the telehops, but I think he actually fell during his first attempt at them. So he did a second attempt at them, was able to get it. But yeah, this is just getting Raz is in basically the same room he's gonna head through these teleporters here. He's got the same room as Willson, so this is super close. This is a mini boss decider here. Let's hope both runners here can pull off a successful few cycles coming up.
And it looks like they are only one cycle of this puzzle room apart. So this is incredibly close, maybe even closer than it was at Interginso.
That's right. Oh, Raz getting stuck there, but he's fine. So again, this up to the RNG to decide who will take the lead coming out of here. Willson was hoping for, was close to that 4 cycle. Looks like he'll take the 5 cycle, but he had some very nice spawns. It was only in the middle and top left, and Raz had to face, sadly, the bottom right spawn. So it was still a 5 cycle, but Willson will take a little bit more of a time save here.
Yeah, so it looks like it's about a 10-second difference after that mini boss. IMRaziel taking just a little bit longer on that, but still saving time even compared to that Interginso split, as Willson is about to collect the bash tree, and IMRaziel is just a quick ghost door away from that. But man, these runners are so close right now. Just a small mistake on any trick right now would cause Willson to fall behind IMRaziel.
That's right. These guys are pretty much, despite not really making too much mess ups here, they are kind of behind their PB. But at this point, I don't think either runner is caring about that. They just need a win, and I think no matter what happens here, they'll be happy with any time as long as their opponent gets a longer time.
Yeah, indeed. The only time that matters is which one of them wins. And Willson is now into his key dupe as IMRaziel is setting up his save on this upper platform. Wilson's key dupe is successful as IMRaziel starts his movement towards it. So less than a key dupe apart compared to some of the earlier races where they were a key dupe or more apart at this point. So incredibly close. IMRaziel is successful with that, and Willson does get his hyperspeed, so he is onto the mini boss.
I mean, this is what we've seen similarly. We have a kind of the mini boss apart unit of time has been very useful throughout these races, and Raz does not get the hyperspeed, which, I mean, is just the smallest time save, but it will affect it.
Yeah, and that does mean that he is basically exactly a mini boss room apart, and Willson finishes his teleport as IMRaziel is about to jump on that teleporter, and Swamp Entry has caused IMRaziel some trouble in the second race. I think he ended up taking 3 tries to get in, and ended up having to dunk himself in the water for one of those after dunking the frog. So we'll see how it goes for them this time. Just getting a first try here will definitely boost his confidence and put him in a good place to continue chasing after Willson.
Yeah, Wilson's Swamp Entry has been perfect so far, and Raz has not been first try yet. But again, that's just kind of the thing that IMRaziel needs. It's like the thing that pushes him to get this first try. He does not skip it like he usually does, the lasers, and so Willson gets it. And let's see how it goes for Raz.
So Willson got a first try there, but ended up taking a little longer than you would normally expect. Ended up missing a double bash on the frog earlier. So, but IMRaziel misses a double bash on the shot there, and we'll have to go back up and get another one. That immediately puts himself in a position where he's not going to be saving any time on this trick.
Yeah, it's an annoying one. Just that bash did not bash soon enough to get that shot, but he's fine now as Raz is entering Swamp. Wilson's got the stump tree, and still super close. Already closer. Already you can see closer than the second game so far. We got a little high five here, and
yeah, high speed high five as Willson is stomping his way out of there.
Right.
Probably trying to hurt IMRaziel's hand, and
that's right. So we've definitely seen a lot of high fives so far in these set of races, and it's just going to be up to these tricks here to see if Raz can catch up any more time than he has right now.
Of course, Willson having no trouble with his exit out of the swamp area. He's now coming up in his Kuro custom skip, which he has not missed yet today. Overshoots it a little, but is able to recover back and gets that skip. So he will not be taking a time loss there. And Raziel is about to grab this ability cell, and then we'll have his own Kuro cutscene skip coming up.
Yeah, that's right. And I don't believe he was able to get it the first time, trying to get up there. So yeah, since Willson got it, Raz is gonna have to get just stay in this, keep this race close as he wants it, and he does. So there you go, keeping this race. He is not letting Willson get away that easily.
Yeah, this is still very close as Willson is coming in towards Charge Flame, and does get the Frankie to follow him, so he'll be able to get out. Raziel having a little bit of trouble. Oh, but he makes it out. What a save. I thought for sure he was going to die there. I don't even know exactly what happened.
Ledge. That was just not the double bash he wanted, but I mean, he was able to bounce off that ledge oh so nicely. I don't know. That was very nice. So he's keeping it close. He's keeping it as close as he can. And so both runners entering Valley, left side of the run. And this is where you'll see fast stops and some pretty big tricks coming up. This is kind of, I'm thinking, this is where I expected the run to really be decided and the whole vibe of this run to switch. These big tricks coming up.
Yeah, and both runners have had difficulty with them tricks so far, but both runners just telling the game, I'm not going to die. I'm not going to fail this. I'm not going to lose this race because of some silly trick. And they are continuing on their way, zipping their way through the forest. This has just been spectacular as Wilson's about to pick up this ability cell before Fast Stompless as Raziel watches the door opening cutscene as he is on his way into Valley, just a little bit behind.
That's right. He did not like that shot, so he's going to go back, try for another shot. He likes that one, and I like it too, so we shall see. Get this fire shot up here to get this cell. He gets it. So.
As Willson is watching that cutscene, Raziel is himself fast approaching this shot. He's 87% on this trick right now, and has had a little bit of trouble with some of these shots earlier, and even missed it in the last race. But that shot looked good, and his movement seems fine there. And he's up to the cell, but he has missed the shot. That's very unfortunate. He will likely go back up and attempt that shot again to not take as much of a time loss as it could be. We'll see.
Oh, no, he's just going to go stomp it normally. So that's fine. If he didn't like it, he'll just not go for it again. Willson had a little bit of weird movement, kind of a weird Sour Bash, but it looks like you'll still be able to make it work. Oh, no, he will not. So he's going to have to try Sour Bash again, which kind of, I guess you could say it kind of cancels out with the fact that Raziel did not get the fast Stompless. So we'll just see how it goes. But here we go. Coming into Sorrow. This is the trick. Crazy Juggle. Wilson did not get it in this first race on the first try. So it kind of changed the game there. So we'll see how it goes for him this time.
He starts so far this sequence of charge dash stomp cancels going very nicely. You only have a couple of frames in order to get those inputs in, and he is to the top, 2 for 3 on the day. First try, crazy juggles, and he has rocket jumped up towards the Sunstone. Meanwhile, Raziel is through into Sorrow, has collected this ability cell, and he will be skipping all of the shenanigans with the frog here and just heading towards charge jump after he breaks the ceiling.
So yeah, this is close. Definitely a lot closer than we've seen in the second race. Not as close to the first, because in the first race, Willson did have some spaghetti there, but the spaghetti of Crazy Juggle will not get to Willson this time. He is fine, and he's heading to charge jump, as is Raziel.
Yeah, and of course, despite the fact that Willson hasn't already gone to charge jump, he does still have a lead right now, as Raziel will need to head back up towards the Sunstone after collecting this tree. So still a slight lead to Willson. We won't know exactly the difference until we see their enter Misty times. And Raziel is now doing this crazy movement behind this SA, doing some charge dashes. He doesn't care what the game wants him to do. he's going to do this crazy movement, even if he can barely see it.
Yeah. That's definitely something you'll see. I mean, these guys, these top runners will just have to save anywhere. I mean, on it forever. I mean, they're just probably so used to the fact that, it's my vision's blocked. It's fine. So there you go. Willson into Misty. We've seen the lead change in Misty before. We've seen these guys have just a little bit of spaghetti not needed. And let's just see how it goes. This super nice movement. Willson's already getting close to that first key. Let's see if he places a save soon. Yeah, you will see a save from Willson there.
Despite the fact that he was down in energy, he still went for that save, so he will need to collect an energy here, which will take a little bit more time. Yep, he makes a quick stomp and then is able to bash his way after magneting in that energy. Also, it's pointed out that IMRaziel, for the third time, is choosing to go the Ultra Magnet route, so he will have Ultra Magnet during the Enter Horu split, which gives him the ability to collect a little extra energy and maybe go a little faster than Willson. So remember that for later. We did see him save some time in the first race compared to Willson during that split.
That's very, very true. I mean, you're seeing a lot of time saves that don't really matter currently, but will in the span of the whole run. And that's kind of what GoPro is looking for, the whole run kind of time save. So there you go. Willson's got climb. And so he's going to do some very nice movement. He's on 3 health, so any spikes will hit him and kill him instantly. So he's got to be careful, as Raz can take 1 hit. And in one of the races, it did work out for him where he did take a hit in Misty, but did survive. So right now, Willson's probably feeling a lot more nervous in Misty than Raz is.
Yeah, of course, that little safety blanket that IMRaziel has is very nice to help calm the nerves. But Willson's not letting those nerves show. Does place this safety save here, which makes a lot of sense. He is a long ways from... Oh, but having a little bit of trouble with this sit-shoot shark here. Not sure if he was meaning to skip that rocket jump, but he ends up missing a bash there as well. Does get the rocket jump here in the meatball shaft. Meanwhile, IMRaziel, takes a little too much damage, and he is back to the climb tree. That's very unfortunate.
Yeah, he passed the frog away. It didn't really work out that froggy, but it stayed down there. That's gotta hurt. And there you go. So that's another Misty death, but sadly it's by Raz, who is already behind Willson. And it's definitely not what Raz wanted, but that is what Willson wanted, because he's exiting Misty now with a very nice lead so far.
Oh, and IMRaziel does take some damage from spikes there, but given that 4 health, he lives. He is not able to take another hit from anything through this section, though. And even after a save, he would still only be at 3 health, so it would not protect him from spikes. He does take that safety save, so he'll at least only get sent back there if he dies. But Willson has already finished his teleport and is on his way into BRB right now, starting that early SA, and has a very solid lead. This is going to be very difficult for IMRaziel to catch up after that difficult loss, and from almost no mistakes from Willson.
Does a nice quick kill. Not sure what that one's called. There's a lot of weird names out there. But yeah, so Willson's heading into the lower black hero again with his vision blocked. He doesn't need that. It's fine. He still pulls off all the movement correctly, and so he's gotten his last skill, and now he has a few sections till the end.
Yeah, but this is quite the lead for Willson, and I think similar to the second race, it's going to be very difficult and require a lot of mistakes for IMRaziel to come back at this point. And the play we've seen from Willson means that he might mess up a little, he might miss door warp, he might have a little bit of trouble with a grenade jump here or there, but he's not going to have any major deaths or mistakes that are likely to cost him this race.
Yeah, he has. I don't think he has gotten door warp first try in these set of races. So yeah, but again, it will not affect it too much because of his lead. It's just kind of a thing to note about, see if Willson has any final spaghetti coming from Swamp to Horu. And
it looks like the difference at the teleport into Glades was 56 seconds. It likely didn't change that much before the grenade tree. IMRaziel will be able to catch up a couple of seconds here or there on this health cell, but Willson is already past that already and is nearly at the door if he's able to get this grenade jump. Fails it the first time, but is successful the second time and has put the sunstone in. So he only has door warp, the final escape, and grenade jump. I say only. All three of those are very difficult to pull off.
Yeah, and meanwhile, Raz is having the splits of his life here, trying to catch up as much as he can as Willson is attempting door warp. He gets it first try. I think that's the first time he got it first try in the tournament. It matters when it matters most. So he is in the final escape.
Yeah, and with that, if Willson is able to get a first try escape right now, he'll be far enough ahead that he'll probably be comfortable to skip the grenade jump and just finish off this race. So I think it's only a bunch of deaths in the escape that leaves IMRaziel with any chance right now. But we'll see what Willson decides is kind of that point where he wants to not attempt grenade jump.
Yeah, it was not as close in the second race, so it was definitely a given here. Here, I'm not too sure about. Willson is not watching the race team so intently to where he knows exactly every pixel where IMRaziel's at, but he may know a general idea. So let's see what he decides to go for. He's coming into the final part here. He's skipping it.
So he's deciding that it is not close enough for IMRaziel to catch up and that he can just wash out this cutscene. IMRaziel did get a first try door warp, so he's at least trying to make this close, but he's just not close enough.
And yeah, Raz has all the action right now as he's finishing up here, trying to make it as close as he can. He may not, again, they're not watching too intently, so IMRaziel hasn't seen a finish on the SRO race, so he may not know. We shall see. He's going as fast as he can, but I think at this point, yeah, it's going to be hard because Willson is close to that cutscene there, and yeah, got to the swim.
Yeah, and with that, Willson is far enough ahead that even with the first try grenade jump, IMRaziel will not be able to take the lead. But boy, is it going to be close! IMRaziel
he made it
really
close.
made it close here.
Yeah, that's how many seconds is that? It's only a few seconds there. But ladies and gentlemen, Willson is going to take the win, and he is moving on. So there you go. Willson has had quite the adventure in the brackets, having the soft lock, which sent him into the lower brackets, but he was able to climb his way back up, because that's the Willson we know, the ex-world record holder Willson we all know and love, who was able to make his way from the lower bracket and now is in the semis. Very nice job.
And we see only a 13-second difference between these two. Willson finishing with a 30.57, IMRaziel coming in with a 31.10. So, very impressive times.
Yeah, and that was just Willson had some just two excellent play. It was just throughout, and that first game did maybe set him off a little bit, but since then pulled off two super impressive runs and is going to be moving on to face Trojan Dude in the semifinals.
And it looks like Willson will be joining us for an interview shortly, and we're still waiting to see if IMRaziel decides he'd like to interview as well. And we are now joined by Willson. Congratulations, Willson, on the win.
Hey guys, thanks.
We're also joined by Raz. Nice job, Raz, for your races. Very impressive job by both of you.
GG, Willson.
GG, dude.
So I'll start off with a question for Willson. I noticed in all three of these races, you skipped the rocket jump just after the fourth Keystone and Misty. Was that intentional, or did you actually just miss that rocket jump 3 times in a row?
That was intentional in the first. I think I did it in the first 2 at least. It was intentional because I I feel like I feel more comfortable doing the rocket jump through the meatball section, and I only had energy to do one of them, so I chose the meatball section. In the last race, I kind of thought I was short on energy, and then I realized I wasn't. So it was at that point I was just going with it.
Okay. And I guess another question for you: having messed up Crazy Juggle in the first race, was there ever a decision to change the route, or were you always going to go for that?
No, I always go for that. Like, messing up Crazy Juggle is sort of common. You can never get very consistent with that trick. I think I'm like 80% consistent or so. But skipping Crazy Juggle would change a lot of my entire route. So it would be a major muscle memory rework for me. So I'm just going to stick with it.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, that's fine. So a question for Raz. So Raz, you were able to capitalize on the fact that Willson not get the Crazy Juggle the first race and take the win the first race. How is your kind of mentality after the first race, where you were up 1-0?
Well, I was actually a bit calmer, but yeah, pulling another 29s was not gonna be easy. I mean, yeah, this last race I should have had a better time, and I mean I would have won if I could have gotten a better time. But I mean I'm happy about my my overall tournament.
Yeah, and you did say that you could only practice just yesterday for this tournament, and you were able to pull off 29s and 31s just across the board. So I mean, overall, how are you feeling about those times despite your short amount of time to practice?
Pretty good. Yeah, I wasn't able to practice for the whole week, but I'm feeling pretty good with these times. Actually, I think we finished by like, I don't know how many seconds apart on this race, but if you remember on my death in Misty, on the second part of Misty, you know, I was bashing the Frankie, but I still got damaged by it. Man, I'm so pissed about that. I lost like 30 seconds to that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely a very unfortunate death. Of course, we saw a couple of unfortunate deaths in Misty from both runners across the races. Willson also having a little trouble with the Misty mini boss the first race. Do you want to talk about that? What exactly happened with the mini boss there?
Did I? I don't remember having trouble with the Misty mini boss.
In the first race, I think you took maybe 4 or 5 cycles to kill it, if I recall correctly.
He raised it from memory already.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Going through the 3. That's understandable. Going through 3 races.
I don't remember. I mean, usually when I mess up the Misty mini boss, it's because you miss the inputs on the first. Like killing the first shark is really like you got to be quick on your keys. And if you mess that timing up a little bit, then everything is off cycle and everything is off timings, and you don't know what to do. So that's usually how it goes for me when I mess up the Misty Miniboss, though.
All right, makes sense.
Yeah, and so Willson, so I just want you to tell us about your journey in the bracket. So where you got sent into the lower bracket in your first tournament, and since then have just destroyed the bracket and dominated your performance to where now you're in the semifinals. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I called this early on. I was going to create the ultimate story of a comeback, you know, rising from the ashes. No, but seriously, it's definitely been an emotional journey for me. Getting very nervous before races and during races. It's not getting any better, I can tell you that. It's been I've been through a lot. I
think you've had the most races in the tournament. so that's I guess that's a nice thing to have.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of cool. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun though. A lot of fun.
Definitely.
So IMRaziel, now that you're unfortunately done with the tournament, unless we end up having a 5th through 8th place match, Do you have any plans for Ori? Potentially maybe trying to get back your all cells, no restrictions world record?
Yeah, I have to also get back to real life stuff. So I won't be playing Ori as much. Not that I have been grinding or something like that, but yeah, I'm gonna keep playing Ori. Probably, yeah, I'll probably go for that 39 in all cells, no restriction, and then I don't know, maybe something else, but most likely in Ori.
Well, I wish you the best of luck with that and with life in general. And
Thank you.
for Willson, you are moving on to the semifinals where you will be facing Trojan Dude. How do you feel about that upcoming race?
Yes! Yes! It's payback time. So for those of you who don't know, Trojan is the one who eliminated me from the randomizer tournament that we had last year. So yeah, I'm definitely pumped up about this. Trojan is gonna have his work cut out for him. I'm gonna be grinding as much as I can, and I'm really looking forward to that match. I've kind of like already reached my tournament goal. Well, I would like to win, but you know, I don't have to at this point. I feel pretty happy with my performance, so I'm just gonna go into it with, you know, the intent to have fun and to beat Trojan.
All right. Well,
I'll also be looking forward to that.
I'm out of questions. Do you have any other, Milton?
I'm also completely out of questions, and just be looking forward to the upcoming races we have in the next week. So there's nothing currently scheduled, but keep your eyes on the schedule and on the Speed Gaming schedule in general. We'll have more Ori coming in the upcoming days as we finish out this incredible tournament. And thanks everyone for watching. Thanks for joining me on Commentary, Cleanfell.
No problem.
To Tara and Grimelios, who are on stats today, and Richard, who's restreamed all 3 of these matches so far, and for everyone else who has helped out so far. And we'll see you all later.
See ya.
Damage as they head through. So, ooh, nice job. Wow, Yoko. Oh,
No,
my
oh no,
goodness.
Yoko. Oh my goodness. Please be careful.
He hasn't taken any like really bad deaths as a result, but
Oh no.
no! Why did I say that? Why did I say that?
Yeah, true shade. So we're going to see what Didu decides to do. Nice safety save there. And wow, the value from the safety save.
The trick itself requires precisely positioning a frog and managing your XP, but because that can happen, because that froggy has a chair and it can stomp it right on your tiny little head.
Oh god, Milton, get out of there!
Holy crap, the recovery from that.
It's deceptive. Ooh, deceptively difficult. Rufus.
Holy
so close.
crap, Rufus.
Oh,
Oh god.
Fix it.
And what is happening now?
I don't know.
Oh,
Monthly shot going through.
Oh, jeez, missed the double bash though. He's gotta go back up. Monthly's shots are phasing the floor. I hope he does not hit that on the upper one. Jesus, broken his swamp.
Oh,
Monkley
Monkley getting hit by the shot.
Metal that Tara did. Oh, missing that, but he's got the backup. That's okay. Oh my gosh.
Oh, God.
Tara. Oh my gosh. Okay, try again. Just this time you can get to the platform.
What you've seen from runners like Lucidus, Uncle Ronnie, and Eviona so far in the tournament, and oh wow!
Damn.
I do not know how he survived.
Both runners getting that 5th.
Oh, Randomson had a really... Wow, what a nice backup, though. Randomson had trouble with the first spider shot, but now it's basically tied.
Go stomp the rocks. And oh,
Fluffy, what
I didn't know you could do that. Can you really just keep moving and skip that cutscene?
Oh god, Ori's in the air! Hello!
Oh no. Oh, Frankie. Frankie, please go away. Oh, that is so painful.
Oh, this is a party.
Luckily, he does have a safety.
Yeah, mini boss not quite going according to plan. Melvin's gonna go with the stomp spam. Keep that frog away. Get out of here. Don't hit me with your chair. He says he gets through it okay, and we'll be just finishing up Misty.
The section is really difficult with the 5 health. Alright, he gets the bash off of the fish. So yeah, he gets through, but upcoming here is
He's spawned Kuro!
Oh, he died! Death! Richard is in the lead. No, they're tied. Richard just died as well.
What?
This is literally synced in the final escape, guys. Unbelievable.
They both stopped the thing together. Okay.
Each one of those grenades costs 1. He's got 1 left. That's enough for 2 grenade jump attempts. If he keeps missing in that particular way, he's got 1 chance left.
1 more.
And he gets it. The
First
clutch.
try, and well, not first try, but you know what? First try.
We'll call it first try.